Hello, and welcome back to Vermont Systems Teams webinar. My name's Sam, and this is the fourth video in this series, and we're going to be looking at meeting in Teams. I'm going to cover the two things you need to know to have a Teams meeting, how to meet now and how to schedule a meeting for later. I'll also be sharing some top tips on having a great Teams meeting. So let's get started. Here we are in Teams. To join a meeting, hold a meeting, or schedule a new meeting, you need to be in the calendar view. Select Calendar from the navigation bar on the left-hand side. You'll notice that your calendar in Teams is integrated with your Outlook calendar. To hold a meeting now, select the Meet Now option in the top right-hand corner. This will take you through to the audio and video settings for your meeting. It will also allow you to name your meeting. As you can return to meetings later on, try to use a good descriptive name for your meeting. That way, it'll be easier to find when you go looking for it. Check your camera feed, your microphone, and your input devices. When you're happy with your audio and video settings, select Join Now. When you join, you'll be added to the meeting call. You'll be able to invite your attendees. Each person you add will receive a meeting invite. When you're done inviting your attendees, simply press the X and close the pane. Your meeting will operate like a normal Teams call. You can switch on and off your camera, control your audio, share your screen, and you can add and remove people later on. When you're done with your meeting, simply hang up. To schedule a meeting, either select the new meeting option in the top right-hand corner, or if you know the day and the time you wish to have your meeting, select the time slot on your calendar. Both of these options will bring up the new meeting request form. Add a title for your meeting. Again, make sure your meeting titles are descriptive, mean something to the people that you invite, and are easy to find later on. Start inviting your attendees, and then check their availability. You'll notice that Chris's name has come up pink. That means that he has a scheduling conflict. If we check the suggested times beneath, Teams will automatically have looked at my calendar, Dave's and Chris's, compared for conflicts, and then given us some suggestions. I'm going to go ahead and choose an earlier time. I'm then also going to add a description to the meeting. Once I'm happy with the meeting request, I'm going to press send. That will send the meeting invite out to all of my intended participants. To join that meeting, we all simply need to find it in our calendar, click on it, and press join. Teams will also present other notifications and reminders, all of which will have a join button in them, making it easy to join the meeting. Again, you'll be presented with your audio and video settings. Once you're happy that it's correct, press join now. This will take you through to your scheduled meeting. Some top tips for having a great meeting in Teams. Ask your attendees to mute their mics when they join your meeting. That way, it reduces the amount of background noise, chatter, or feedback when your meeting starts. This will prevent any disruptions or your meeting being delayed. Should any of your participants have poor or low bandwidth, then ask them to block their incoming video calls. They do this by clicking on More Actions and then selecting Turn off incoming video. That will preserve their bandwidth for audio and means they can still participate even though they can't see their colleagues on their video stream. The final top tip we have for you is to elect a meeting leader, someone to be in charge of sharing their screen, raising and bringing up documents, updating those documents, and keeping notes. You may also want them to keep track of any questions that are coming up in the conversation. If your participants are all muted, people may use the meeting chat to raise questions or queries. The meeting leader doesn't necessarily have to be the person presenting. We find it's useful to have someone that's in charge of Teams and piloting the application during the meeting. When the meeting's finished, simply hang up. Both yourself and the attendees can return to that meeting at any time by going to chat, finding the meeting in recents, clicking on it, and they can look at files, meeting notes, and any of the chat conversations that occurred during that meeting. Okay, let's summarize. The two ways to start a meeting. You can Meet Now, which is a great way to initiate an instant meeting in the Teams calendar. You select Meet Now and then invite your required attendees. Teams will then call each of them and ask them to join your meeting. This is really good for holding an impromptu or quick group call. Schedule a meeting. You can use the Teams calendar to schedule Teams meetings with one or more participants. You can even add recurrence. Teams will automatically review your meeting dates and time, compare them with your attendees, and make sure that everyone's available. It'll even make suggestions on more suitable times if it finds diary conflicts. And then we covered off some good tips for your meetings. In large group meetings, there can be a lot of microphone and a lot of background noise. Having a mute mic policy limits those interruptions and delays at the start of a meeting. Of course, turning your mic back on when you need to speak is absolutely fine, but being aware of background noise or feedback is really important. So when you're done speaking, turning your mic back off to limit the amount of interruption that your background noise has on the meeting. Also, we discussed blocking incoming video. If you have low bandwidth or poor internet connection, then you may struggle with lots of live video streams, but that's okay. Individual users can go into the More options and turn off incoming video, and this will improve their call quality. And lastly, the little tip about electing a Teams meeting leader or pilot. This is typically someone who will take control of the Teams app itself during the meeting, presenting screens, sharing documents, updating those documents, and keeping track of notes. They may also be in charge of the lobby on letting people in or adding extra people into your meeting. And this doesn't have to be the meeting presenter or organizer. Often you may find it useful for someone else to do this while the meeting organizer or presenter can focus on presenting or organizing the meeting. This has been a Vermont Systems Teams webinar. My name is Sam, and I'd like to thank you for joining us, and please be sure to check out our other videos.